The old mower deck picked up a stone last year, ingested it, and caught it in there somehow where it just shattered everything. Ended up shattering the housing for the spindle. So I was out to buy another spindle. Several people had them for about 30 bucks online. I saw I could get two spindles though for 40 bucks roughly. And the other spindle isn't in the greatest shape, and the little clover leaf is kind of messed up on it. So I'll get the 2-pack. Well, I kept seeing packs with more and more stuff. And it turns out for 72 bucks I can buy everything pretty much. Even the blades and belt. So that's what I'm going to do here. Put most of the stuff on. It's kind of a pitiful old deck. It's very thin at this point. Had a welder fix it up. He didn't know how long it was going to last me. It's been about 10 years though. Held up pretty well. But you can see it's getting pretty thin in some places. Everything came just dumped in a box, priority mailbox, taped up, triple taped up, real heavily taped up. These were shrink wrapped, the two spindle assemblies, and the blades were wrapped up really heavily. So everything arrived in good condition. Just took off the snowblower and chains, get it ready for the summer. So the kit's going on pretty well. These bolts were a little tight, like the housing was just a little bit short, but I couldn't see a difference in the housings. I was trying to compare these two. Oh, I'll do one more thing to compare them yet. Pulleys went on. This pulley right there hits. So it's not perfectly round. I'm going to have to file that a little bit. So that's a little bit of a drag. And about to put the other spindle in, see if it fits the same way. The hardware for the spindles are different. They were mounted with bolts like this, and the new bolts are just simpler bolts like that. It does have a locking surface on it though, on the bottom. These had a wider base and longer overall, but not the thread part's the same. So this should work. The threading seems pretty loose though. See a lot of wiggle there. The threading is real loose, so I hope they stay tight. Gonna have to keep an eye on that, or more like an ear on that, I guess. I can't really see this when it's on the tractor. I'll put the other spindle in, see how it goes. You know, with the two houses pinned together and lined up as best I can, it really does seem like the new housing is shrunken a little bit compared to the original. That's why it fit tight. It fits though, barely. You know, all the bolts are going to fit to this edge of the holes in the deck, the inside of the holes, real tightly. So it's hard to get the last thread on, the last bolt. They fit that tight. And I'm going to use the blades they gave me. They're like a mulching type blade. A little extra windage thing going on there. But they're not creased at all in the middle for strength like most blades are. So if I hit a rock or a stump, this blade will bend real easy. So these actually aren't too bad. These ones I took off, I'm going to keep them handy because I'm probably going to need them. So that went together pretty well, I guess. Little fit issues. I also bought separately, not part of this deal, another shield there. I'm going to see if I can dig that up, put it on. Well, I found it. A little rain passed through while I was looking. And unlike the one I bought from Sears a number of years ago, all the hardware comes with it. So I just got to figure that out. Shouldn't be too bad. I used a socket to push this thing on while I tapped on the other end of it. It didn't work out great. It kind of mauled this thing. I straightened it out a little afterwards. I don't think it's good enough. I'm not sure what to suggest for that. My method didn't work great. Ended up mauling it. If I kept it straight on it, it might have done better, but it went off to one side. This curl has to relax a little bit. I'm sure it will under the heat and sun. It's kind of curled up from the way it was packaged. So I'll let that go by itself. And there's the approximate belt routing. The guide right here. Unfortunately, one of these is missing and the other one is broken. I guess they're not that helpful anyway. They kind of plug up around the vents. Probably just run without them. It's not much of a hazard unless you start reaching in to clear the bottom, and shouldn't do that when it's running anyway. Doing a little maintenance, putting a new air filter on. I'm going to change the oil too, oil filter. The regulator has been doing very well all winter long. Haven't lost any LED lights. That's why I went through all this whole drama, because I kept bringing out LED lights. So absolutely stable as a champ. The switching regulator doesn't make much heat. It's actually less load on the engine. It's not wasting, not dragging the engine as much. It should actually help efficiency slightly. All set and cutting well. If anything, she's cutting a little bit short. It's set for 2 inches, but it slowly gets shorter and shorter as the pins and stuff wear out. A lot of stuff getting near limit, really. So I might have to adjust things a little bit. Get the cutting height up a little bit. But yeah, pretty nice. Everything's working so far. Probably a tractor update later. 3 weeks later, all is doing well. I did have a blade vibrate loose. Otherwise, everything's great.